Hi, welcome to What's Working Wednesday. I'm Cheryl Andrews. I'm the founder of Step by Step Listening, and I'm a strength and solution detective. So what do is I help you do more of what you love and ditch the critic that says you can't. And how I do that is by helping you get clarity of what you want and why it matters, but also having the confidence to ask for it. Now, sometimes having clarity of what you want is enough. Once you absolutely know what you want and why you want it, then you have a strong peer support network around you, then you can go out there and ask them for it. But sometimes you know what you want, but there is something that stops you from going out and asking for it. And in my experience, it is usually down to either a fear of upsetting people, worried about being criticised. Perhaps you've tried time and time again and you just don't get the response that you want. And what I do is I help you start to understand what it is about your language and the way that you're framing it that is getting you the response that you want, that you're getting, and how you can change that framing in order to change the response that you get from your communication. So whether you want to improve your sales process or your love life, ultimately what it comes down to is you having clarity of what you want, the confidence to ask for it, and then changing the way you calibrate what is working and what's not working in order to improve your communications on an ongoing basis. So What's Working Wednesday today, we're talking about what to do if you don't feel appreciated. Because one of the things that can happen when we lack clarity is that our head gets in a muddle, our emotions start to take over our thinking, and decision making becomes really difficult. And so when I take you through the clarity process, C is for curiosity. So start to ask more questions and start to be curious. So you may need to get your basic needs met. If you don't feel safe at the moment, maybe you haven't got a roof over your head, you're not sure you're going to get bills paid or food, then it's like that's the basic needs that need to be met first. And it's getting very curious about how you can resource yourself first and foremost to have your basic requirements there, because then you can allow your brain to get really curious, because while you're in fearful state and you're worrying about stuff, it's really hard to be curious about things and start to look at things from a different perspective to give you that little bit of light to crack into that really sort of complicated dark place where you feel you don't have the answers right now, you're going around in circles. So first of all, curiosity, make sure you have your basic needs met. So get yourself in the right space, make sure you've got drink, water, food, that you're nourished, and create an environment where you can learn. And then start looking at language. The L for clarity is looking at the words. So this week, the word I want to talk about is appreciated. I've had a number of clients that I've been working with over the last few weeks who were feeling like their clients didn't appreciate them, or perhaps their family or partner didn't appreciate them. And so the process we do is, okay, that's the word. And so the A is for attention. So start focusing on what you'd like to have happen, or what appreciated would be like if it was at its best. So that's what I wanted to say to you now, is start really thinking about, if you were appreciated at your very best, that would be like what? What would you hear and see? How would you know you're being appreciated? And then I want you to take a moment for the R, which is reflection. I want you to reflect back. And the people or the thing, I just want you to notice when you have been appreciated. What has worked? What is working? Because often we get so bogged down with a moment of not being appreciated that we forget and we don't catalogue and we don't recognise and we don't celebrate all the times that you have been. So go back over it again and look at when have you been appreciated. So that's reflection backwards. Now also, the other thing is that sometimes the people around us, we might be saying, oh, you don't appreciate me. But this is the one that you won't like me for, but I promise you'll love the results when you can really get hold of this. This is one of the activities that Mark and I did about 5 years ago. And there was a particular person that was really getting on our nerves. And we wrote down all the things that we didn't like about them and what they were frustrating us about. And then we went back and checked, is it true, if not truer, that I should be doing that, or I do that, or I'm guilty of doing that? And we were gobsmacked to find that we were doing all of the things that we were accusing this other person of doing. So the first thing is the person that you think's not appreciating you, just check in with yourself. Is it true, if not truer, that you should be appreciating them? And if you were appreciating them at your very best, what would you be doing, hearing and seeing? Because often we can expect more from people than we're actually willing or prepared to do. So it's just get curious about that. Isn't that interesting? And once you know that, that brings us on to I, which is intention. And it's about thinking now, what would you like to have happen? Now that you know all that, now that you know that you have had that appreciation in that time and that's what's worked, and you know that that's what you want to be like when you're appreciating those people too. Now that you know that, what would you like to have happen? And it's just checking that you're not in a place of drama. So when you ask for what you want, if you're saying you're inferring the other person's wrong and you're right, you'll come from persecutor, you're not likely to get a good response. If you're coming from rescue, well, I'll have to do it for them then, won't I? I'll have to be all nice to them. I'll have to do that. Again, you know, you're inferring they're not okay and that you have to do it. You're obliged to do something, but you don't really want to. And victim, it's like, I'm not okay. But, you know, if I spend all that time appreciating them, I'm still not being appreciated. So the T is about trust. It's about trusting your own advice, but also trust this process. And I want to say to you that, you know, if you really want to be appreciated, first and foremost, you have to be clear what that would be like. You need to acknowledge when it is happening and recognize and give notice, acknowledge it, verbalize it to the people and thank them when they do it. Start doing more of it yourself. And then if you want to have more appreciation, so one client this week was, sorry about that, my computer just bleeped. One of the clients this week was talking about, well, it'd be good if they did this or they did that. So I was thinking about, how do you need to be? If you're not getting the response, how do you need to be for other people to appreciate you more? And what kind of resource or support would you need? So what kind of cheerleader? Because when we're going to make a change of behaviour, it's who could be in your life right now that you could say, look, when I'm doing more appreciating, or when you are showing me appreciation, would you please put your attention on? So it's definitely important that you get them to notice what's working. What you can do when you start asking for support is you start getting people to tell you when you're getting it wrong. But the most important thing is that you actually start focusing on when you're getting it right and getting someone that's going, yeah, you've got it there. So who in your life right now could be your partner, your cheerleader that says every time you are appreciating somebody else or every time that you are being appreciated, that you just take a moment and acknowledge that. And lastly, the why. You and your whole story is really important. Often what happens, I find, is that we start getting narky in one area of our life, but actually the real source of the problem is in the other area of our life. So whether it's our, you know, it's about us personally, whether it's our work life or our family. And we can tend to compartmentalize things and try and just deal with this person not appreciating me at work or this person not appreciating me at home. But actually there is a relationship between you personally, the living and the working. So just to get curious about the whole story, recognize whether you've been here before or not, and think about what would you like to have happen. If you want to put your statements down below, I'm more than happy to pop in for a few and ask you some detective questions that help you to investigate it, to get really curious, to help you become really strength and solution focused, and help you gain some clarity about what it is that would make the difference for you right now to be able to, in this case today, appreciate it. Now, if you've watched this video and you're thinking, well, actually, it's not appreciated, that's not me, then the good news is follow the exercise again, but choose the word that is really winding you up this Wednesday. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next week.